Beryl is an ultimate sword master living in a peaceful rural area. Though he's reached the state of sword and self as one, he still tirelessly trains. But the most important thing is that he's over 30 and still single. His venerable old father frequently brings this up, saying he really wants a grandchild to hold. Beryl talks about his training, but his dad thinks 20 years is more than enough, it's time to find a wife. The old man feels his son is ignoring his filial duties by not fulfilling his father's wish. Beryl's main job is currently teaching swordsmanship to many students around the village. With more and more students coming, he uses it as an excuse, these are all descendants anyway. Besides, without a wife, where am I going to get grandchildren? His dad thinks there's no shortage of beautiful girls at this dojo, he could just pick one to be his wife. Beryl refuses and has to go somewhere else to stop the old man from nagging him. Inside, he continues sparring and instructing his students. Since the day he was born, Beryl has always held a sword. When he was young, he dreamed of becoming a great swordsman, but he lacked confidence in himself. Plus, now that he's older, his speed is declining. Even so, he's not sad, he feels he belongs here. Although he's not a great swordsman, Beryl has a talent for teaching, which is why so many disciples come to learn. Furthermore, almost all of those he trains go on to achieve success. At dinner, his father again brings up finding a wife for his son, turning to his wife, "You think so too, right?" She gently replies, "That will happen sooner or later." Beryl thinks his mother is amazing, with just one sentence, she stops his father from saying anything. However, she also really wants a grandchild to hold. Just then, an old student knocks on the door. It's Alucia, currently the captain of the Royal Knights. Consider Beryl's teaching efforts repaid. He asks what brings her here today, and she explains that she is also currently teaching swordsmanship to her subordinates. Beryl feels proud because Alucia was a talented rough diamond from a young age. Today, she's here to announce that Beryl will become a special instructor for the knights. He doesn't understand at all and is shown a letter of introduction with the royal seal. If he refuses this, he'll definitely be executed, no joke. Alucia urges him, "Master, please prepare quickly, I'll be waiting outside in the carriage to depart for tomorrow." Beryl doesn't teach today, so she deliberately came today to avoid affecting the dojo. His father agrees, also requesting that he bring a daughter-in-law back, and even pairing Beryl with Alucia because she is very beautiful. He thinks his father is talking nonsense because there is quite a large age difference between them. This is what Beryl thinks, unaware that Alucia actually likes him. She doesn't care about the age difference, but she doesn't dare tell Beryl directly about her feelings. Later, while in the carriage, Beryl asks if his junior disciple still uses the sword he gave her. This was a gift after graduation. He's happy to see Alucia cherish it, but thinks the captain of the Royal Knights should use a better sword. She happily replies, "I feel like this gift is still very handy, so I don't want to change it." He always thought the teacher should be better than the student, but perhaps Alucia surpassed him long ago. Being respected, Beryl is very happy, but at over 30 years old, keeping up with the current generation is a bit difficult. The girl then calls her teacher Holy Sword of the countryside. Finally, the Master Swordsman has come to the capital. Alucia calling Beryl Holy Sword is completely justified. Because he has trained many top swordsmen and adventurers. Beryl self-deprecatingly thinks that perhaps only this student thinks that way. Becoming an instructor for the Royal Knights is very suitable for him. Most importantly, she wants to take this opportunity to improve her relationship with her teacher. And so they traveled until nearly evening, when they finally arrived at the capital. Since it's been a long time since he's been out like this, the teacher plans to buy souvenirs. The student also finds him a place to rest for the night, then they'll figure out what to do tomorrow. As expected, Beryl is not used to life in a crowded urban area. The next morning, they stood before the entire army for the introduction. Alucia states that her teacher is much stronger than she is. The result makes many people unhappy, thinking that this is just a country bumpkin with nothing special. After saying a few words, Beryl is praised for being too emotional in his speech. According to the contract, from now on, he will have to come here to teach a few days a week, which will not affect his work at the dojo. At this time, another student runs over to greet him, she's Karuni, a junior in the same class as Alucia. Although still young, this girl is currently working as a knight. Remembering back then, this girl always tried to practice to get here. The dream has been realized, and the credit is also thanks to Beryl's teaching. They will be here to support, so they hope he will order them around as he pleases. In the evening, Beryl returns home in a very happy mood. Even happier when there are guests at home. It's Jandrich, one of Beryl's elite disciples. This young man now has a family and children, unlike the teacher who still doesn't have a single relationship. That's why his father asks his son to return to the royal capital to pick up girls, and let Jandrich take care of the swordsmanship teaching at the dojo. The request is that he doesn't come back here until he gets a wife, shocking Beryl. He asks and finds out that the young man moved back to the countryside because his wife just gave birth, and as an adventurer, he wanted to find a peaceful place to live during this time. Beryl feels a little wasteful because he has reached platinum rank and now has to quit. Jandrich always remembers his teacher's kindness. Beryl thinks that he taught him 10 years ago. And achieving success now is due to his own efforts, he didn't help at all. Adventurers are rich, but it comes with danger, so staying here to teach swordsmanship is also good. The old man strongly believes in this disciple, wants to hand everything over to the young man, and push his son to the royal capital, so it's a win-win situation. Although Beryl didn't want to, he was cornered and had no choice but to accept the outcome. The next day, the teacher had to ask Alucia to help him find a boarding house. She felt lucky because that would make it easier to woo him. The inn they stayed at the night before was very good, but the price was high. Now that he needs to stay in the city for a while, his top priority is to choose a cheap place. The girl also invites her teacher to live in her house to save money, but Beryl refuses outright because that's not right. Hearing that, she's a little sad, then invites him to eat, considering this a real date. At this moment, someone suddenly criticizes the commander of the Royal Knights for being with a strange man. Hearing that, Beryl is a little worried because he's afraid of bringing shame to Alucia. The speaker is Lysandra, her archenemy. Because they don't want to argue, they leave. However, the big girl still follows to ask who this man called teacher is. Beryl has never seen a black adventurer badge before, so he's curious. Looking up, he's called teacher by Lysandra, because in fact, she was also taught by him. They haven't met for a very long time. She tries to rekindle the old memories, saying that she was adopted by Beryl and taught swordsmanship. Hearing that, Beryl also remembers that time, not expecting her to grow up so much. Lysandra always wanted to tell her teacher about her success, but didn't have the opportunity. Beryl smiles, once you've grown up, everyone is busy. It's good to see her become someone admirable like this. Asking about the reason they're together, Alucia says that the teacher is an instructor for the Royal Knights and that she's looking for a place to stay for Beryl. Hearing that, Lysandra thinks that no one is better at finding a suitable place than her. This also makes sense because she's been an adventurer for so many years. Again, the two keep fighting each other, making Beryl confused. They searched until the afternoon, when they finally found a place that met all the criteria. Beryl also has to thank Alucia, and praises that they are indeed close. They smile and ask to leave so the teacher can rest. The next morning is the first day to start training the young knights. However, the vice captain does not accept it. To be an instructor, he must be better than them, so he wants to test his skills with the teacher. Alucia also introduces Beryl to this young man, Drought, but she also agrees to the challenge on her own, considering this a good opportunity to show them his strength. Suddenly pulled into a battle, Beryl had to comply. Everyone shows contempt, thinking that he's only praised by the captain, but there's no way he's as strong as the rumors say. Beryl doesn't care because he's just a middle-aged uncle after all, wanting at least not to lose face in front of the younger generation. The match begins. According to the assessment, Drought has very strong chopping power. But his technique is a bit poor. He can be easily defeated by deflecting the attack. People think that Beryl got lucky, but in reality, he tried to stop in time to avoid hurting others. The young man continues to attack with all his strength. Indeed, the speed and power of each chop are terrible, but the attack method is too simple and predictable. Being knocked back continuously, he unleashes his strongest technique, but somehow Beryl dodges it, immediately slips behind and ends the battle. Alucia also asks the vice captain if he's satisfied. He immediately changes his mind, praising the teacher for being too wonderful, wanting to be taught more in the future. The others also start to stop talking about Beryl's personality. In the evening, the whole group gathers to celebrate the first day of teaching. Drought pays for everything, as an apology for looking down on him. Beryl doesn't care because suddenly there's an old man who comes and demands to be taught. Such a reaction is normal. Beryl also points out many places for the young man to improve. In the countryside at this time, Jandrich is confiding in the teacher's father. He's also very happy that Beryl can leave here. Talented swordsmanship like that is too wasteful if he spends the rest of his life teaching. He claims that he has never met anyone as strong as Beryl. The father is looking forward to his son bringing a daughter-in-law home. A week has passed since Beryl moved to the royal capital to teach swordsmanship. Everyone is very obedient and doesn't have any complaints. He often points out the mistakes of his students so they can improve. Although it's only small things, if done well, half a step is enough to determine victory or defeat. After saying that, he turned around and got looked at, so he was a bit embarrassed. Fortunately, he fought Drought the other day, so everyone is willing to listen to him now. Karuni then ran up to ask if the teacher had any plans for the afternoon, wanting to take him sightseeing because she noticed Beryl wasn't familiar with the city and had just been going back and forth between here and the inn all week. Drought chimed in that it was a waste since there were tons of fun places in the upper districts. That girl got super excited, told the teacher to trust her, and then ran off to change into a fresh outfit. As for Alucia, she was working with relevant parties at this time. Her superiors also asked if the new instructor could be trusted. Alucia simply replied, "The teacher far exceeded expectations, so don't worry." In her mind, she always thought that if she wanted to become a master swordsman, she shouldn't hold a position like hers, because it would be a waste of time to deal with paperwork like today, for example. But if she didn't do that, she wouldn't be able to bring the teacher here. Remembering the memory from the beginning after her family moved to a peaceful rural area to live, Alucia's parents wanted to learn swordsmanship from Beryl because they had heard of the dojo for a long time. Learning how to protect yourself is necessary in this area. There are almost no knights going back and forth, so there are some dangerous elements. At first, Alucia was quite afraid of strangers. The teacher knew this and greeted her gently to get acquainted. The girl felt the gentleness and became less worried. Alucia's training class that year was full of talented people. Later on, the teacher not only taught swordsmanship but also imparted important experience, and his method was extremely effective for a person with poor physical strength like Alucia. It only took a year to transform herself into a completely new person. Every day they practiced the basic exercises again, but for some reason Alucia never got bored. Her strength improved day by day and she got used to fighting. In particular, she was often praised by the teacher, even for the smallest things. Once, Alucia saw Senior Jandrich hesitate to fight the teacher and didn't understand why. Very quickly, the young man lost. When it was Alucia's turn, she was interested at first, but when she started, she realized how Senior felt when facing Beryl. They couldn't find any weaknesses on the teacher, so they felt nervous. "Alucia, calm the student, attacking at the moment I move slightly is very good." In the following period, their dojo went to other places to interact. It was just practice sparring, so Beryl asked them not to attack from the neck up to avoid danger. Students from both sides were allowed to spar, but the victories were mostly for Beryl's students. Alucia faced a young man who wasn't very happy, realizing that this guy was full of openings. She didn't bother to attack first but let him attack and then retaliated. On the way back, she felt that the victory was too easy. Fighting against another school would help gain more experience. She asked the teacher if their dojo was very strong, to which Beryl denied. Alucia saw the all-win result, so it had to be. Beryl himself also defeated the teacher on the other side. He modestly said that his swordsmanship was just to counter them, so that's why. Sometimes two schools will have one side with more advantages, so it's hard to say who will win, and he wants to focus on what he's aiming for more than winning or losing. Suddenly realizing that she had dropped something, Alucia asked to go back to get it. But when she went to find it, the students on the other side wanted to mess with her. They looked resentful that they had lost to a girl, and tried to attack, but Beryl stood up to block, telling them to learn swordsmanship to defend themselves, not to go around hitting people indiscriminately like that. That guy didn't stop and continued to attack, but was defeated. The master on this side heard the noise and came to see, and scolded the stupid people on his side. "It's just that his students are better than yours, that's all." Declaring that they were no match for Beryl, he even bowed his head to apologize instead. Beryl wasn't bothered by this, and simply took his student home. Although the incident wasn't pleasant, Alucia had a changed perspective. The opposing master even had to acknowledge Beryl's strength, yet he was so modest that he never recognized it himself. Alucia also cried because she let her teacher get hurt. Beryl told her she hadn't done anything wrong, and that he should have accompanied her from the start, so it was better this way. He apologized for leaving an unpleasant memory in Alucia's head. Seeing this, he invited her out for a meal as compensation. At that moment, she knew her tears weren't from fear, but from the overwhelming emotions in her heart. Over the following period, Alucia's combat abilities improved, even threatening the person who had taught her swordsmanship. After succeeding, Beryl gifted her a sword as a graduation present, saying that she was strong enough to protect herself and that he had nothing left to teach her, so this would be their last session. She knew she still wasn't a fraction of the swordsman he was, but she couldn't impose on him forever. After accepting the gift, Alucia wanted to prove how incredibly powerful her teacher's skills were, so she participated in the knight's entrance exam. There, she defeated all of the judges and veteran knights, none of whom could keep up with Alucia's speed, signifying that they were far inferior. She joined the knights with the highest score and dared to guarantee that Beryl's reaction abilities were the ultimate. From that point on, Alucia had another ambition, to bring the holy swordsmanship of their hometown out into the world, so that their talent wouldn't be wasted. To do that, she needed to become a commander and achieve many accomplishments. And after she had everything she needed, 10 years had quickly passed. Holding power and strength in her hands, Alucia finally dared to invite her teacher back to teach. Unexpectedly, Beryl hadn't changed at all. The only thing that had changed was that his skills were even sharper than before. Some might think she was abusing her power, but Alucia wanted her teacher to have a position that was worthy of him in others' eyes. She had prepared everything for that. Back at the training hall, Alucia didn't see Beryl, so she asked Drought. Drought replied, Karuni took the teacher to tour the city. Hearing this, Drought couldn't help but feel jealous of her junior, because she wanted to do the same. It would have been considered an official date. On the other side, the two were strolling around everywhere, but it was mostly Karuni having fun while Beryl wasn't really doing anything. This western district had many places to buy delicious food, so Karuni really enjoyed going there. Beryl thought, an old country bumpkin like me doesn't belong in a lively place like this. Just then, another student came over to greet them. Ficelle was in the same class as Karuni, so they were very close. At first, Beryl didn't even know who she was, and then she suddenly called him teacher, which caught him off guard. Ficelle was a bit sad to be forgotten, but she had changed so much that he didn't recognize her. After seeing the sword that was proof of her completing her training, he remembered she was the cold student from before, but because she was more open now, he had forgotten. 5 years had passed, and Ficelle said she had grown up, and was now a rising star in the magic squad. Beryl was confused. Why did you join them when you're a swordsman? She also needed to buy some magic accessories. She took out a ring and activated fire magic for her old teacher to see. After seeing it, Beryl truly believed she was a mage. Very few people had the talent to be in this profession, proving that Ficelle had worked very hard, and was famous for possessing both swordsmanship and magic skills. Beryl cherished Ficelle quite a bit. So he was a bit sad when she left the training hall, but now he was very proud that he had trained such a talented individual. Just then, a thief snatched something, so Ficelle wanted to show her former teacher what she could do. She activated a spell on her sword, and just like that, she tied up the thief's legs. Karuni then rushed in and successfully apprehended him. Both of them were used to dealing with criminals. Ficelle explained that she had put magic on her sword. He had never thought that someone would apply swordsmanship to magic, so he had to thank Ficelle for bringing him glory. Early the next morning, he woke up early and went for a walk, wanting to do something to avoid being seen as a country bumpkin. At that moment, someone kept following him and calling out to him, but Beryl didn't bother to respond, so the person got annoyed. Turning around, he saw it was a young girl, so Beryl asked if she was lost. In reality, this woman came looking for him with a purpose, because she knew Beryl was Ficelle's swordsmanship teacher. Lucy introduced herself, saying she was Lucy, the commander of the magic squad. The guy thought kids these days like such things, and got scolded, being told that she wasn't joking around, and she might even be older than Beryl himself. He didn't believe it, so she showed him. Lucy then tricked him, saying it would be fun to take a walk with a companion, so she led him elsewhere. After hearing Ficelle talk about her master, she was very interested and said that girl was very eager to meet Beryl again. The sword magic was impeccable, praising the swordsmanship teacher. Beryl modestly said that everything was due to Ficelle's efforts, and he only taught the basics. He even asked if this young girl wanted to learn too. This was exactly what she wanted, so she revealed her purpose. She wanted to spar with the swordsmanship teacher. Fighting a strong opponent would make her stronger. A battle immediately erupted. At first, Beryl thought it was just a friendly joke, but she created a whole bunch of magic spells, threatening him, so he had to draw his sword. Thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and the notification bell to stay updated when the channel releases a new video. Thank you.